Ba-bum. Sorry, I'm checking. So yeah, I think we just had to cut out with the bit rate. I just looked and saw it. Which reminds me, I should probably check the weather on what's gonna happen with. Not that I'm complaining, Yurionshe, but I didn't expect to see you quite so soon. Nor I thee. In extolling the virtues of Aetherius, I did inadvertently awaken the Loporrit to desire to avert our beloved star's demise. Kiri tells us you have obtained new knowledge that may aid us in our ongoing efforts. I have news to share regarding our study of the ethereal sea, but your findings are certain to be a greater interest, and so I'd rather hear them first. To what revelations did Heidelin's ellipse flower lead? Where to begin? Then this dynamis is what drives the final days. If it and Akasha are the same, one and the same, this all but proves Nidhana's theory. We were an entity through sheer force of emotion. To channel this vast dormant reservoir into a raging river, its powers might even surpass that of Aether. But if our star was so reprieved with Aether, said entity would need to be outside its influence to effectively manipulate the dyingness of the great expanse. Melatonin. Yes, I know that's not the name. That's how I'm saying it. Or rather, the sorrow and suffering of fallen civilizations she had been hoarding for millennia. Untold anguish and fear and hatred drawn from every corner of the universe. All for a single purpose, destruction of Aetherius. Then our foe was no longer some unknowable calamity. We have but one aim, to defeat Melatonin. You make it sound so simple, but you are not wrong. Vanquish Melatonin and we deliver the world from the final days. But to even attempt it, there are two conditions. First, we must determine her location. Before Melatonin escaped, an enchantment was placed on her by Vanette, the woman who would become Heidelin. The implications of the temporal magics are not entirely understood, so we cannot assume that our Heidelin and the Vanette you met in Ellipse are one and the same. Nevertheless, due to her intrinsic qualities as an all-powerful being, I'd wager that Heidelin possesses the knowledge we seek. Whether she would share that knowledge with us, however, remains to be seen. After all, she intends for us to flee Aetherius, not to stay. Do you suppose she abandoned her pursuit of melatonin? Vanette, I know, would never give up. Never surrender! That's my impression, too. Otherwise, she wouldn't have used me as a conduit for her well, or even provided clues such as the lips flower. I believe she has been waiting for mankind's answer to Hermes' question. And so what's the second condition? We must find a means to reach melatonin. Naturally, our chosen method would depend entirely upon whoever she has made her, wherever so she's made her nest. The end of the universe? Then communing with Heidelin must by necessity come first. Did you and Master Matoya have any luck in your investigation into the Ethereal Sea? Sadly not. Though we enlisted the help of Arenval and other Echo-blessed allies, we could not detect so much of a whisper from Heidelin, even from within the Antitower. Master Matoya is of the opinion that in the years since abandoning it, the Forum has found some other method of receiving instructions from Heidelin. If so, it would most likely be some form of apparatus for observing the Ethereal Sea, built closer to home. Well, we're about to talk with the Forum. They'll have an answer, right? Sorry to interrupt, but we received word from the Forum. Your presence is required in Rustra, where they intend to discuss the Great Exodus. Then Father was able to persuade them. They're finally taking us seriously. Let's hear what they have to say. I will need to run to use the restroom, though. Be let back. Going well. Sorry, you just caught me as I ran off to the restroom and then jumped back. And hi, how you doing, Roll? We're jumping back into Endwalker. At first, I wasn't sure what to make of Hermes and his motives. Say, I am jumping everywhere and nowhere at the same time. But it's like we discussed at the Great Work. When faced with the harsh realities of life, some seek the release of death, others grow defiant. They fight. Either way, it is our right to choose. 80 ninja? Nice. That's probably gonna... I hate to say, it's probably gonna be one of the last classes I level up. Because mainly me trying to remember the combos of everything is going to be fun. So it's going to be one of those classes, unlike like a bunch of the other classes, I'm kind of leveling at the same time. That's going to be one that's going to be my full focus class when I level it. 'Twas Heidelin's commandment that in the event that Zodiac should perish, the Loperites would deliver the people of Etheris. I mean, for some people, for me, it's like, I am idiot, part 1000. I have mine set up so that doing them to the left is single target, doing to the... That's actually a really smart way of doing that. Though, that be the limit of their duties. Yeah, practice also makes perfect... That too. And that's also the reason why it's gonna, when I do level them, level it, it will be the one I put all my concentration on, rather than how I'm kind of straddling a whole bunch of classes right now. Though that may be the limit of their duties, they possess knowledge unparalleled to the great expanse and means of its traversal. Should they be persuaded to assist in our efforts to reach melatonin, we would do well to heed their counsel. By the way, I slaughter names, either in a funny way, or I give up and do it, or choose something. Well, the funny way is I give up and I choose to do it in some way that isn't true. The other way is I just suck at phonics. And any language. Even my own! Well, that was a much quicker response than I expected. Nice to know that our efforts in Maga Glacis didn't go unnoticed. So, if you're nearly at 80, you haven't gotten into past Shadowbringers and into Endwalker, right? I don't remember the... Yeah, Endwalker is the 90. See how smart I am. Yay! Father has granted us the opportunity we've been waiting for, though we know not what information skipped up to Dawn Trail. Ah, okay. If any, they intend to reveal. That's the only way to find out, to Rasta. Nope, I like story. I love story, so story big. I hope you don't mind me staying behind while you attend your big meeting. The Rasta reminds me too much of the supremely scary tribunal in Ishgard. You'll forgive me if I keep my distance. Well, I can always fight for you here. After you left for Garlemald, I went to Labyrinthios and tried to reach Hydaelyn using the lips flowers. It's true, that's also can be annoying. Say busy work. Alas, my attempts were in vain. I can only assume that she spent a vast amount of her power in the confrontation with Fandango, and is presently unable to communicate. Indeed, her presence left my body. I could feel how faint it has grown. Master Matoya has suspected for some time that the Forum has been constructing a new facility for the purpose of surveying the Ethereal Sea. Of course, the custodian of the anti-tower, which would presumably be rendered obsolete as a result. She has a few things to say about that. Nothing that should be repeated in polite company, you understand. Oh, but I want to hear you, Stola! After sending Graha and Estidian back to Garlemald, I stayed in Locust Minos for a time. Being an imperial province, it was already in turmoil before the onset of the final days. You wouldn't believe the difficulties we had overseeing the evacuation of the villages we visited. I have faith the detachment we left behind will continue our work and shepherd the people to safety. To what safety can be found in a world coming to an end. To think the Crystal Tower the First is capable of such feats as sending one's soul to the distant past. The events you witnessed and helped shape, may yet hold the key to forestalling the final days. I'm reminded of my dear friends in a future I unmade, whose countless efforts I saw the Eighth Emerald Calamity averted, in this timeline at least. Too much has been sacrificed for us to abandon Aetherius now. Alright. So, my guess is Ninja is your main? My main... I'm usually a healer main but Astrology is currently a main for, healing. I love Red Mage as my DPS. And DPS is my Red Mage. Mainly because, I can still slightly heal while using it too, which is a good thing, because, you know, you can't stop the healer inside me. But also I can do the, you know, res thing. I guess my melee is currently a Dragoon. I like the Dragoon. And as for my tank, of course, it's a Dark Knight. So, because I am nothing if not edgy. Help. Okay, Red Mage. If it's a single target, it is Jolt, Thunder, and Verero. Those two, or one and two. Feels right? Yeah. And then these two, and usually impact. Like this one impact, this one impact. At least that's how I have it set up. It could be different for other people, so, And it takes a bit, Can't ever get comfy with it. True, I can understand. And one of the comments I made earlier in this stream was, when they had me play as Alize, is I'm sitting here going, you know, they have it squished up so much better. Why don't they just have it that way in, you know, the main game instead of making it complicated? Like, I wouldn't need as many buttons. The forum is in session, and as such, the restaurant is closed to visitors. A scion of the Seventh Dawn? Very well, you may wait in the corridor. Of course, entry will only be permitted in the condition you leave your armaments at the door. Lest you forget, this sacred institution holds rational discord at the highest, and implements of wars are expressly forbidden. Bitch, you think I'm gonna kill them? Why? I mean, I know you, like, you think of me as a savage. You've said it to my face, but I mean... You're with the Scions, yes? There's nothing more I can tell you of the Great Exodus, save for what you heard at the Forum's proclamation. Pray be on your way. What, you're not also going to talk about how I am astrologian, you know, of stolen astrologian arts that, you know, learned by an astrologian who decided to, you know, wander across the sea without the Forum's permission?
There is a matter I wish to raise with you before we enter.
I mean, sure.
We are here to listen and to learn. But if the Forum's plans are more or less what I expect, then I should like to make a proposal that will serve our ends.
Why are you asking me? You're gonna just do whatever you want, Alphino. I trust you.
By your leave, of course.
Alphino.
I don't see why not. Your words and wits have gotten us this far.
We believe in you!
Agreed. I will present our queries so that you may consider the most advantageous way to advance your proposal without distraction.
Thank you, everyone.
If I may have your attention, the ad hoc session will now commence.
Ad hoc.
The purpose of today's assembly is to brief the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, at their request, on the Great Exodus. You may enter.
Hawkshush. Yeah. Actually.
On behalf of the Forum, I commend your heroic actions on the Magna Glaciers. We shall not soon forget your service to us and the people of Radzadhan.
Look, I already have Daddy Dragon on my side.
Informed of the refugees' new arrangements, sings your praises as well. As an expression of our gratitude, we will endeavor to answer your questions as fully and openly as we are able.
Then let us begin. First, It is the Forum's objective to ferry the life and knowledge of this star to the moon. Am I correct?
You are. It is for this purpose that Sharlayan has labored these many long years. We have collected biological samples and scientific records from across the star. When the time comes, they will be moved from their places in Labyrinthos and Numenon and conveyed to safety.
Yeah, and currently you're working them to death down there.
Once that critical task has been accomplished, we will begin transporting the Sharlayan citizenry, which has been categorized into groups. The earliest arrivals are to ensure hospitable environs for those who come after. Following our people, we will send those of other nations in turn, beginning with our allies. Radzat Han was foremost among these, but since the final days have already come to Thavnair, we saw fit to include the refugees with earlier groupings.
An ambitious plan. You have accounted for the safety of all nations and tribes, then?
As many as we can.
Oh, that's...
And how, pray tell, do you decide who to leave behind?
To journey beyond the sky is an unprecedented and immeasurably difficult endeavor. Introducing sources of inevitable conflict would condemn all to certain death.
But we've managed to pretty much befriend all the Breeze tribes. Or at least members of all the Beast tribes.
Questions as to the validity of that approach aside, are your plans proceeding apace? We're under the impression that your primary means of celestial transportation is incomplete.
If only in that it does not meet our optimal parameters, that is correct.
Optimal?
This arc, as some have taken to calling it, is fully operational and could be launched even today. However, the final days have progressed more quickly than we anticipated.
Not my fault. I mean, kind of my
At present,
fault.
the ship is incapable of attaining speeds sufficient to meet our evacuation targets. Should we put the vessel into service, as it is now, we will be unable to travel to the moon and back quickly enough to complete the necessary number of trips. Precious lives and knowledge will be lost.
Seven hells. Is there anything to be done?
The ether burner, the primary means of propulsion once the craft is in the space between stars, is undergoing testing to determine whether it can be made more efficient. Though cargo is being loaded for the initial phase of the Exodus, we are prepared to continue our experimentation up to the day before launch, should it prove necessary.
Cool.
What if the Scions were to solve your problem? We shall help devise a means to improve the ether burner's efficiency, on 2 conditions. If we succeed, you must allow us to meet with Hydaelyn.
Bitches we know.
'Twas simple enough to deduce. You have a Concord, and so you would never have abandoned the Anti-Tower had you no other means of communication. One far more convenient, I suspect.
The second condition, also to be met upon our success, is that we be permitted to propose another use for your Ark.
We would be at liberty to refuse this proposal.
Of course. If we cannot prove its merit to the 99 here, who are we to stake on it the lives of all peoples of this star?
Delightful as always, Master Alpha.
We made Gandalf happy for us.
Oh, we couldn't have asked for a finer plan. Allow us to solve this complex engineering problem of which we were entirely unaware until moments ago. What could possibly go wrong? The satire writes itself. Yet, what field has not benefited from a change in perspective? When we are at wit's end, what we need is not the same dry theories recited ad nauseam, but fresh inspiration.
Just don't tighten this.
I, for one, have faith in my erstwhile students to provide it, and I find their terms to be perfectly acceptable.
Or we're gonna use the arc instead to,
Order! Order! We have no time to waste on debate. I call a vote.
let's say we're gonna use the arc to go find melatonin, right? Is that what we're gonna do? I don't know.
All in favor of agreeing to the Scion's terms? "71 in favor, 28 against. The ayes have it.
Yeah.
Fortuneau, as the architect of this project, you are the best candidate to show them its current state. And bear in mind that regardless of your personal misgivings,
Especially showing
this
your
is
son.
the will of the Forum.
Yeah, bitch. Yes.
Very well.
I call this session to a close. Return to your tasks with urgency. The final days wait for none.
Well, I very much take issue with the Forum's approach to selecting whom to save and when. They're not wrong for wanting to minimize potential conflicts. Unfortunately, if this plan of ours actually works, the Great Exodus itself will become entirely unnecessary. Phew, I'll admit, bringing up the issue of the Forum's incomplete arc was more than a little daunting. They were, to their credit, quite open about their current state of affairs. What's even more surprising, though, is when they took Alphino up on his offer. I'm a little vexed to learn we have yet to learn of the Forum's replacement for the Antitower, though I expect that in time that too will share with us. And with Master Matoria if they have any sense. The further we pursue the mysteries of the universe, the more I struggle to comprehend the fortuitous nature of time itself. We measure and quantify it based on observations of celestial bodies, such as the sun and moon, but from your account, it is unclear whether the ancients viewed time in a similar manner. I mentioned this because, while Vanette knew the final days would occur at a defined point in the future, she presumably had no way of knowing exactly when. Even so, the completion of the Forum's preparations to escape to the moon, aligned so closely with the advent of the final days, is surely no coincidence. Oh, he's not alive? Oh, in the traditional sense. Oh, yeah. Perhaps if Miss Soma was still alive, in the traditional sense, that is, he could have offered to help the vessel attain the necessary speeds. Then again, there's no guarantee his contribution would make enough of a difference to matter. Of late, I have seen no sign of the Loporrits. This being their first opportunity to experience the wonders of Charlian. The potential for misadventure is nigh infinite. I know, right? My affinity for espionage may have earned me the title of Archon. I was completely unaware of the Forum's plans. There may have been some clues here and there, but had I been of mind to look for them, but contemplating that possibility only serves to further wound my pride. Not that anyone could have realistically surmised that their brilliant stratagem was to build a giant ship, fly to the moon, a still larger vessel in truth, and use that to travel to another star. Even now, the whole idea seems positively absurd when spoken aloud. Rest assured, I have every intention of honoring the Forum's decision. Sorry about not letting the rest of you in on my plan. I was admittedly thinking on my feet for the most part. But since we require both the means of communicating with Hydaelyn and reaching melatonin, in the spur of the moment I saw involving ourselves with the completion of the arc as a way to work towards both objectives simultaneously. However, we must first keep our end of the bargain by solving the problem of the Aether Burner. I would like to think that it's not a challenge beyond our combined expertise, or at least the expertise of our extended circle of associates. You mean asking Sid? It might behoove us to learn how an Aether Burner actually works before you attempt to improve it, though. Ask Sid. Wait. As Father seems so eager to help, maybe we can have him educate us about the Aether Burner. Master Bastard's ability to maintain a stiff upper lip is sorely tested. As instructed, I shall take you to see the Aether Burner. Meet me outside the Archeon. I trust you'll be able to make your way there. So the Ark is being built in Labyrinthios. Hardly surprising. Where else could they conceal such a massive undertaking? Oh, the gang's all here! Woo! Do they intend to carry everything in the Archeon to the moon? They said they started loading scientific records and biological samples, but they really need all of it? Yes. It seems so long ago we first stepped foot in here. Where once we refused entry, we're now welcomed as guests. Among the many and varied documents sent to the moon, I did chance upon several inventories made on the Archeon. Mayhap the Forum believed such records would provide insight into the intricacies of clerical duties. Regardless, Teleporus did not consider them worthy of more than a cursory glance. Ha! That we would have been granted permission to enter the lower levels is proof of our increased standing. Why would they have been willing to confine us sooner? It has been many moons since I last visited Labyrinthios. As vast as the archives were back then, they only continue to grow in days since. Some would surely object to the Forum allowing foreign elements to have run of their secret facilities. We should count ourselves lucky. I don't understand the appeal of reshaping it to look like the world above. Make your peace with what it is, or go outside if that's what you prefer. Love you, Revere. Love you, Astidian. You should. Our destination lies in the lower levels. In the Forums, it is wisdom that has granted you access to the Archon's lift. Step inside and have Olivia Line take you to the Medell circuit. It's because I look cute and fluffy. That's the reason why they're allowing me down here. Also, make faces at the custodian. You thought you could keep me out of here forever. Ah! You wish to use the lift? Yes. Indeed. Indeedity. I'm well aware that more important things to research right now, but I feel paramount to carry on as normal. I have sent your associates ahead to the Kun Alpha on the other side of the mirror agronomics. Actually, there's something I have been meaning to. No, never mind. It can wait. Let us attend to matters at hand. Do I have to go over there? So I have to... Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What about second breakfast? Sorry, I was just reading aloud that fate. The fields we passed along the way brought back memories of Ferndale. Unfortunately, we were never blessed with such abundant crops. We must be close to the central circuit. It's where Charlane's greatest secrets are held, if the tomes I perused told the whole story. On our journey here, I was filled with an inexplicable sense of elation to see the vegetables, other than carrots, being cultivated. Why, it nearly brought a tear to mine eye. Oh, right. The further underground we go, the more surprises we find. Wonder what this place actually is for. Knowing the forum, even the people working down here are probably kept in the dark about the true purpose of this place. Oh, there you are. Having words with Master Bastard by any chance? No, he wouldn't say anything. He was being... stubborn, like his son and daughter. We are to wait here while our father arranges us to use the next lift. Here being Logiskun Alpha, where the atmospheric conditions of the Labyrinthios are regulated. Water is drawn from underground and dispersed as vapor, simulating the formation of artificial clouds and rain. By manipulating the temperature in the air circulation, they're able to create the ideal environment for the growth and preservation of biological samples kept here. Hold on, how do you know so much about it? Why, Father brought me here as a child. What? It left me behind? Actually, you were the one that left me behind when you went off somewhere with Grandfather. The night before, I'd been asking Father how clouds are made, and so he decided to show me. He was fascinating. I peppered him with questions the entire time. 'Tis all too easy to take for granted the many interweaving aspects of the natural world, to grow inured to the wondrous. But having gained the understanding of the complex mechanism employed by the Loporrits in creating a similar environment, I have come to view such processes in a new light. The subterranean guardians of Labyrinthios, the lunar prison forged to contain the ancient Zodiarch. The inhabitants built for all of mankind neath the moon's surface, each unique yet undeniably similar. 'Tis no mere coincidence. The nice music's gone. Ever since Heidelin unfolded to us the grim fate that awaits Aetheris, every essential resource we could spare has been delivered to Labyrinthios in preparation for the Great Exodus. But that is not all. It is also a testing ground for the technologies that will allow us to settle on distant stars. Oh, the weapons? Are we gonna, Warhammer 40k this thing and, you know, blot out the star so that everything dies on the planet and then, you know, like for a few seconds, blot out the star and then, you know. Though the Leopards endeavor to make the moon inhabitable, it is not our final destination. Mankind must learn to propagate life where there is none, and thrive where all is barren. Alas, the time is not on our side. I have arranged for you all to enter the central circuit. It is there most of our preparations for the Great Exodus are carried out, the construction of the Ark among them. Though our plans have been made public, access remains highly restricted. You, however, will not be subject to said restrictions, and will have free reign to come and go as you please. Such is the will of the Forum, after all. We will prove ourselves worthy of their trust. Your trust. Then let us proceed. Father can't seem to, you know... Degree of the Forum permitted... Yes. We might have finally have the chance to commune directly with Harley and Heidelin! Provided we somehow manage to succeed where Charlene's finest engineers have failed. Still, it wouldn't have hurt to look. The sooner we could get a look at this aether burner of theirs, the sooner we can start working out how to improve it. The temperate environment here is not unlike that of Bestway's burrow, though the diverse vegetation doth produce a far more complex bouquet of aromas. Welcome difference indeed, for I have grown weary of the scent of carrots. I imagine the secrets kept here will be of great benefit to my own research, but I will refrain from indulging my curiosity for the time being. I have no idea what makes Alphino so confident we can solve this problem of theirs. Relentless optimism, I presume? A not unwelcome trait in the youth, but less so in a gambler. Aye, let us resolve never to let him set foot in the gold saucer. Sounds like a plan! Farther down we travel, the more expansive the sky above becomes, artificial though it is. Would the heaven somewhere... Would that the heaven elsewhere would be so idyllic. This is it, the central circuit. Please tell me we're almost there. Or is there another underground level we have to reach? An even more central circuit, perhaps? I don't know. The aether burner is being constructed not far from here. Overseeing the work is Donkol, whom the forge is named. Once the necessary introductions have been made, I will leave you with him to discuss the particulars this way. What, do I not? Can I? Proceeds to go the opposite direction. Unless it's walled off. Oh, wait, no, wait! I see. See you. Proceeds to go the opposite direction. And everybody knows that it's going to be Sid, the one that, you know, figures everything out. That's just how that works, you know? They didn't ask Sid. That was their first mistake. To our benefit. Alright, now I'll go back. Central Circuit. Yep. I was expecting the Sky Steel's manufactory, but instead I find the village smithy. While many of the facilities near the central circuit may be visible from the upper levels, the more secretive work must be carried out behind closed doors. Surely the Forum hath already petitioned the aid of the law pirates, given their familiarity with such technologies. For a closely guarded secret, you can practically see everything from the outside, even with the magical barriers surrounding it. Is he talking to himself? I mean, I do it all the time. What do you think, the stream is? This is me, everybody hearing my character's inner voices. He looks lost in thought, though he seems to hit upon some stumbling block. Perhaps you'd like to break the ice. Why me, though? He hasn't even realized we're here, or perhaps he has realized but just doesn't care. This is the man we seek. Try not to startle him. Do you have any suggestions on how not to startle him? Do I, put a food, right in front of his face, to snap him out with the smell of food?
I could swap them out. No. Been there, done that. Damn near lost my eyebrows.
Isn't that the same voice?
Think, Coco, think!
Big.
We'd be well on our way to paradise.
Bigs.
Visionaries patting themselves on the backs for their grand accomplishments if you'd only think!
Yes, that does sound rather lovely.
Yeah! I mean, Master Force, what a pleasant surprise.
Like the mullet.
Blasting off already, are we?
In that I don't.
The schedule remains unchanged, for better or worse.
Schedule. Don't British me schedule.
Which is why the Forum has elected to accept assistance in resolving the ether burner conundrum.
Huh. Not seen you lot down here before.
We haven't been down here before.
There are Archons among their number, but engineering is not their expertise. Nevertheless, the Forum concedes the slim possibility that they may have insights to offer. If not, you are at liberty to return them to the surface, by whatever means you see fit.
I assure you that won't be necessary. Now, about your troubles with the ether burner.
Aye, I'll walk you through it. Suppose I could do with a change of pace. As the name ought to tell you, the ether burner burns ether, ambient or otherwise, and transforms it into motive force. Think of it like a giant bomb that never stops exploding.
Kind of like the pulsar engines that they're thinking about designing for the ion pulsing engines that they're deciding. Well, it's in the first stages of. Well, it's past the first stage and onto the second thing of actually trying to build it, where with NASA, which it's a ion pulsing that can get you to the Mars in 6 months or less. But this is totally a different topic.
Even out in that black void where the ether's right sparse, it's strong enough to move our arc. And it probably won't kill you like an actual bomb. But it ain't perfect.
I could tell.
According to my calculations, to travel to the moon and back fast enough for the forum's liking, the conversion rate needs to be 6% more efficient. A measly 6%, you say? But if I could have squeezed even another 0.6 out of it, don't you think I'd have built it that way in the first place?
Hast thou consulted with the Loperids?
Yes, they too are conducting their own research, for lack of a ready answer. The moon's propulsion systems are considerable, naturally, yet they are commensurately massive.
Trying to make something small enough.
It is no easy feat to convert their technology into an efficient means of propulsion for a teeny tiny toy boat, as they say, and as I most certainly do not.
No.
Yes, exactly!
Perspective.
Damn it all, I asked for refined adamantite and they send me uppity rabbits with inscrutable, ancient, incompatible technology! You trying to drive me mad?
Yes.
Do you speak of Allegan refined adamantite, perchance?
You know of it?
Only in the most general terms, I'm afraid. 'Twas an alloy of Allegan make, but the secrets of its production were closely guarded. As I recall, the record stated it was vital to Dalamud's construction and launch.
Aye, that's the stuff. No material more conductive far as I know. Slotting some ends like blowing up a dam and watching the river of ether come rushing through. Ain't a living soul that knows how to make it though. We were fortunate enough to salvage some for the ether burner, just a wee bit, mind, from a chunk of Dalamud that came hurtling into the northern empty during the calamity. With more, well, that extra 6% efficiency would be child's play. It's a crying shame that we've no other sources.
Oh, really?
Surely the many shards of Dalamud scattered throughout Eorzea would suffice. Why not get the refined adamantite from them?
Oh, we tried, believe you me. But only a few specialised pieces would have had any in them to begin with. Drive calls from Ragnarok-class internment hulks. Those are the prize bits we really need.
Oh.
According to the Gleaners, getting to them means delving deep into the shards. And the defences are still very operational and very eager to blow them up.
Oh, so what you're saying is violence. And I can answer that violence.
It's rough going in there, even for the cream. Not sure they'd make it out alive.
You want me to go and fetch the what's-its?
That may be for the best, though you doubtless find the task too dull for your liking.
Do we have a choice?
There are multiple internment hulks in Eorzea alone, so handling this ourselves may not be the most efficient option. Rather, if we could salvage adamantite from the shards simultaneously... Thancred, is the link shell we established before you went to Garlemald still active?
Of course. The floor is yours. What's all this?
You know, power friendship.
Gathering firewood, so to speak. We alone can accomplish little, but joined by others, we may yet build a bonfire to carry us heavensward.
There's a name drop.
This is Alphino. The Scions have need of you.
Understood. I will contact the Lord Commander and dispatch our finest at once.
My sisters are somewhat preoccupied with the final days, so I will lead the 12-Wood expedition myself.
Aruna! Arun!
Are you aware of any other sources of refined adamantite?
Logically, such an invaluable alloy would have been utilized solely where absolutely necessary, in components intended to conduct or collect surpassing amounts of ether.
Crystal Tower. We're in the
Any
Crystal Tower.
extant instrumentation or devices would have likely found their way into the hands of etherologists or enthusiasts.
Magical artifacts of Allagan design? The Eastern Alliance will send word to one and all. Are there other ways we may offer aid? No shards of the Lesser Moon scar our soil, but our stake in this cause is no less for it.
Hi, Zarela!
Is there anything in Othard that might be of use to you?
What did you say? Oh, you got friends in far places, lad. Any road, if you're offering, I wouldn't say no to one of those Far Eastern sacred relics. Some of them can hold enough ether to summon a whole damn primal. Combine a source like that with the ether burner, and 3, 2, 1, kaboom!
Oh, the violence.
I gather you heard his explosive enthusiasm. Might you secure us a suitable relic?
It shall be done. I know little of machines, but I promise we will do our utmost to gather the materials you need to finish your starship. I am glad for the work, in truth. Better to busy oneself than wait and fret over disasters foretold.
Then why are we all still standing about yapping? There's plunder for the taking. And I'm a born plunderer.
Yes, a card. Sit down.
I'll be an old Charlian before you know it. Start mixing the grog.
I'm certain that can be arranged. Thank you all, and do be careful.
For once, it's not always me going around doing all this shit.
Just like that.
Aye, just like that. Our refined adamantite is on its way. Now let us consider our next steps, shall we? There's yet much to be done.
Have anything to say to your son? Nope. Pride. Pride! Well, I'm all relying for power of friendship, but we're... Shit, Vincent! We're now left with the rare luxury of having nothing to do. There must be something that requires our attention. What serendipitous irony that remains... Remnants of the seventh umbral calamity would be the keys to mankind's salvation. Never more certain have I been that Master Louis watches over us from the ethereal sea. First the Joy Boys and now the final days. No one can accuse the Spard contingent of backing down from a challenge. Of course, they weren't all so committed to the cause when we first set out. But after seeing the example set by you, Alphino, and the others, the change was palpable. They couldn't help but believe. There are no oaths or contracts binding the members of the Isbard contingent, and in many ways it was even more loosely organized than the Crystal Braves. Nevertheless, I knew none who would refuse this call to arms. Truly, we've been blessed with trustworthy and dependable allies. Appreciate you doing all this, but ain't getting my hopes up just yet. Time and time again, it seems our Allagan something or another are either the cause of or a solution to our problems. To think the self-same materials that once launched Dalamode now can be used to help ferry mankind to the moon. There's poetry in that. Okay. Considering how much of a fuss he made at the time, I don't see why he takes every opportunity to bring it up. It was just firewood. Obsidian! I'm confident that even the deadliest of Allagan defense mechanisms are no match for our allies. At this rate, some of them might soon have as many accomplishments to their names as a certain warrior of light. Does that mean I can retire with my harem? Can I? It's times like these we reminded how famous or infamous Alphino has become. Who would have thought he could achieve so much with a single link pearl conversation? As we As we're expecting rather a lot of visitors in the near future, I'd best return to the surface and inform the relative parties. I also have a contact of my own that might be worth a try. Oh, and who might that be? Sid? 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 That's for me to know and you to find out. Sid! On that note, I leave matters here to your capable hands. Meanwhile, Anuda.
Our course of action is clear. We must harvest refined adamantite from the shards of Dalamud and procure arcane relics of Allagan make. Summon the best and brightest of our immortal flames and form an expeditionary party at once. Call upon the Salt and Sworn and Brass Blades for support as you must. Papashan, send word to the guilds. We will require the expertise of master artisans if we are to have any hope of identifying and recovering these elusive materials. Viergeist, we have need of your stone torches. They are to assist the immortal flames in scouring the ruins and to help secure the surrounding areas. I trust I can count on your support.
As commander of the Stone Torches, my son Zimberk will personally see it done.
Who are the stone torches? Is this something that I don't know of?
Pippin, I would have
Oh, obviously it is something I don't know of, but I mean...
Assemble your finest,
is it something that I heard in passing but haven't placed...
Lord Lolorito, I pray you take charge of the search for Allagan relics. Surely you know of some being traded on open or clandestine markets, or sleeping in collectors' vaults. Of course, I ask not that you do this out of the kindness of your heart. By all means, profit on the transactions. I wish you the joy of it. The final days descend upon our world.
Do some explorers.
Circumstances
Okay,
are truly
34.
as dire as they say, all
Thank you
our
for that,
best efforts may be
Apocalypse.
for naught.
Some country longbow. Okay.
And yet, when we Eorzeans rose from the ashes to rebuild our broken realm, did we not learn one simple truth? That which seems all but impossible to overcome alone may yet be possible if we stand together. It was the Scions who united us then, and it is the Scions who call upon us now.
Whoa!
Uldar will answer that call. We will summon our courage and join the fight for our world's future. You know your duties. I, Nanamo Ulnamo, 17th in the line of Ul, bid you good luck and Godspeed.
Meanwhile, in the Black Shroud. It's Lucy!
We fielded a goodly number, but our ranks are heavy with healers, and an abundance of restorative magics will be of little help in destroying Dalamud's defenses. Still, it has ever been thus with Gridania. We must steel ourselves for a protracted engagement.
I mean, I was about to say, you could just heal them and keep sending it back in. Or...
in that case, might I suggest taking us along?
Nice! least this climate fits better your outfit.
Commander Hext, what are you doing here?
None of the shards in Girabania are big enough to hold an internment hulk. So we said to ourselves, why not lend our neighbors a hand? We thought you might be short on people with a talent for breaking things.
Oorah?
While it pains me to admit it, you are right. Are our deficiencies so plain to see?
Yes.
It might have been a lifetime ago, but I was once one of the scions assigned to the Shroud. I know this forest well. I know your people. And I know we will be stronger if we fight this fight together.
Then I will impose upon you with a clear conscience. Come, let us speak of how to integrate our forces.
I won't let it all be for nothing. I promise you, Papalimo.
Papalimo's screaming from the ethereal sea. Basically, the words of... I'm already dead! You don't have to promise me anything!
There you are! We've no time to waste, brother. Everyone has already... Ah.
Should have known this is where he was. You shouldn't have... because you would have known that he was here, because it's the only thing he's here for. My horseophone! Ah!
That was a roar. A dragon's roar.
Yes. It's Hancock! Ah!
And so, in summation, the Eastern Alliance, as well as the Honourable Lord Lolorito himself, reached out to me for assistance in procuring these treasures of the divine, and I, in turn, do beseech the Confederacy for aid. Hmm? Is that...
Hancock? What a surprise this is.
Saban!
And a fortuitous one at that. I have a favor to ask, you see.
Well, I'm all for relying on power for... Okay, it's the same thing. Though our friends are searching for Amidite and sacred relics, we will only know if they meet your requirements once they've arrived. In the meantime, is there aught we could be of service? Ha! You've already done more than enough. If I had to say, though, I could use someone who knows a thing or two about elegant technology. Everybody turns to look at Grahatia at once. You there, lad with the red eyes matching hair. You seem to know more than the average scholar. Well, Ha! If only Master Kukul knew how right he was. While he and Graha establish a rapport, why don't we help the preparations in the Great Exodus? Indeed, this will mean going above and beyond the terms of our arrangement, but I propose this not to curry favor. As confident as I am we will succeed, we must be ready for every eventuality. This would also be an opportunity to familiarize ourselves with the logistics of traversing the Great Expanse. And if nothing else, it beats twiddling our thumbs while we wait for the Amidite. Well, ain't you a bunch of helpful buggers. If you've a mind to lend a hand, I know what you ought to do. Charlie and Hamlet is lousy with researchers and scholarly types, busy themselves preparing for the Exodus. Pa, that lot need all the help they could get. Well then, off we go. I shall endeavor to provide Master Kukul with whatever information you shall require. I'll admit, without refined amadites, ain't got a bloody clue of how else I could get the Aether Burner performing any better. I was about to say Bunsen Burner. But you lot don't come up with the goods, we're buggered. Let's go over here and see what this is. Actually, no, it says speak with Alize, so I don't need to speak with her just now. This is a longer stream than expected, and gonna find somebody just, because I still have to do farming and Monster Hunter before tomorrow's stream, well, tonight's stream, so. Find somebody to raid. Alright, y'all! This was Ciarfox. I hope you have a good day or night, whenever it is, wherever it is you currently are. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and comment. Let me go ahead. That's who I was actually about to raid. That actually was who I was about to raid. I had already, I was in the middle of the ads that are on their thing, so. It is a look around for Pudding Way. Yeah, the funny thing is the Pudding Way expects, it to actually have good food. That's a scary thought.